right, hey guys, welcome to Love Your Life with Misty. We have a really amazing guest on that I'm going to be interviewing. I'm super excited to introduce you to the magnificent Heather Holtz. Heather is a good friend of mine. She's a business partner of mine, but she's also had a really magnificent journey through a lot of kind of gunky stuff. And I'm excited for her to share her journey and some things that have helped her along, different emotional things that she's gone through, in hopes that it helps people out there that are kind of going through the same thing. So I am really blessed in the way that, you know, my journey through my business has brought me a lot of people who are going through a lot of tough stuff. And for a long time, I didn't know what we were supposed to do with all this tough stuff until I realized recently that this was a really amazing opportunity for us to sort of gift those to other people through our own journeys and being able to express and take you through the things that we went through and being able to help you through the same things that you might be going through as well. So it was kind of like making our mess our message. And so one of those really inspiring stories is Heather's, and I would really love to introduce you to her. And I would love for you, Heather, if you would tell us a little bit about yourself. But first, I want to know what your morning ritual, your morning awakening process, what that looks like and what it looked like this morning.
Well, let's see. I'm actually trying to retool and revamp my morning process because I am not a morning person. Anybody that knows me is probably laughing their butts off right now because they know that to be true. So in the morning, I probably hit snooze several times, which I shouldn't, but I do. So I'm actually trying to have another diffuser plugged in so that when my alarm clock goes off, I can turn that on and it'll have wild orange and peppermint in there. So that by the time my alarm clock goes off again, I'm feeling like I want to get out of bed. So the wild orange and peppermint really helps to wake me up in the morning, helps to get me going. So
I love that. I never even thought about having, like, when your alarm goes off the first time to throw on your diffuser. Never even occurred to me. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, I have my nighttime one, but I want that other one ready to go for the morning. So, yeah. So I'm actually going to try that tomorrow and see how that goes.
Cool. I love that so much. And, you know, I could totally relate to hitting snooze a couple times. It's sometimes those days, especially these dreary Chicago days lately, make it really easy to kind of just lay in bed and just be comfy. So I get it. I totally get it. But will you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, we'll get into your journey with the cancer and the different things, but I would really love for you to share a little bit about you, what you do, who you are, all that fun stuff.
So I am married to a wonderful man for, it will be 13 years in October. So we've been together for about 16 or 17 total. But yeah, so we have a dog who is our pony. She's a 13-year-old Weimaraner. So she's had her own health issues, which we've luckily been able to support her with the oils for that as well. So we have no kids yet. So it's just the three of us. And let's see, what do I do? Well, I'm also an essential oil educator, so that's my huge passion. But my day job is I help run an office setting that we do workers' compensation cases. So I manage pretty much the whole office there. Yeah, I love nature and activities and anything I can do outside, kayaking. I'm an avid volleyball player. I'm on several different leagues throughout the year. So sports injuries have always been something that I've struggled with. So I've always looked for more natural solutions to help with that as well. So that's been huge for me.
Cool. And you forgot to mention that you are an avid survivalist too.
Yeah, we love camping and figuring out ways to kind of, if things were to happen, to kind of be able to manage ourselves on our own. So like we both know how to start fires from flint and rock and all that, and just a lot of naturalist tips and tricks that we've picked up along the way. So it's always fun to get out in nature and see what you can do.
Totally. And for those of you that don't actually know Heather, she is probably one of the most crafty people you'll ever meet in your entire life. She is our our resident like DIY expert. She is super, super crafty and very inventive, and everything. I feel like everything she touches just kind of turns to something incredibly magnificent. So I'm really blessed to be able to watch her and her journey. So I know we know a little bit about you, but your world got rocked not long ago. Will you tell us a little bit about what life looked like before that? And then kind of take us through everything that happened when you received your diagnosis and then through your surgery and post-surgery, just kind of a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so let's see. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. My family always had some thyroid issues. My grandmother had issues, but we never really knew what they were. She passed away a long time ago. So thyroid health has always been something that was in the back of my mind. So my yearly checkups, I would mention to the doctor, oh, this is my past family history. Oh, let's do an ultrasound. So they found nodules like probably 15 years ago that were teeny, teeny, tiny. And at that point, they're like, oh, you're young, don't worry about it, we'll keep an eye on it. So doctors change, they leave the facility, whatever, things fall through the cracks. So it had been quite a while since things had been looked at. And there was one day I had just swallowed something and it just felt funny. So made an appointment with my doctor, went in and asked them to check things out and maybe run another ultrasound because it had been quite a while. So he did, and they found some suspicious looking nodules. So these were much bigger than the ones they found previous. So went in and they recommended I have a biopsy. So during that whole time, we were dealing with another family member that had cancer. So it was kind of crazy and chaotic. So after the needle biopsy, which is basically they stick a large needle into your throat, they numb your area, supposedly. That didn't really work for me, so I kind of felt all of that. And they had to stick me about 4 times because they couldn't get the proper cells that they needed. So that was fun.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. They're like, well, you're feeling this. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling this. They're like, well, you can come back another day. I'm like, I'm not coming back. You're getting it what you need now. So stuck it out, stuck me multiple times. They got the sample that they needed. And then we found out like a week or 2 later, the sample was inconclusive. It was suspicious for cancer, but inconclusive. So with all the things going on with the other family member, I just kind of let things go for a while. So it was probably, I want to say a year later that I finally went back in and started meeting with endocrinologists and just different physicians to see the next step. So as you can imagine, it was a little emotional, which, you know, where's my oils? It was a rough time. I mean, when somebody tells you that they're not even sure if you have cancer and here are your options, it's kind of scary. So I did a lot of thinking because with thyroid cancer, it's not like other cancers. So you don't undergo chemotherapy and things like that unless it's super, super severe. But what they want to do is they want to remove your whole organ. So that's a big step. So sorry.
No, my God, don't be sorry. It's an emotional journey. And that was actually something that I wanted, I would really love for you to speak to also, like, you know, looking at your journey now, you know, years later, when you look back at how your life was before, but even before your diagnosis, before your surgery, before all of that stuff, can you kind of recognize different things that could have totally contributed to your body sort of developing a disease or cancer or different things, like things that you can now kind of hindsight go back and go, I could totally see how that could have led to this?
Well, yeah, I mean, when you look at as a nation, as a country, the products that we use and have on a daily basis that are that we're told are safe, that we're told, hey, you'll be fine, use that. They don't tell you about all the endocrine disrupting chemicals that are in them, or the toxins. And I mean, you look at the news today, and it seems like every single day they're coming out with something. Now this is a known carcinogen, and cancer cases are on the rise, and it's just crazy. So what we had started doing is eliminating as many toxins as we could before I even found out that I had cancer. So, removing the bleach, removing, there was a point where I remember cleaning the bathroom out one day and I almost passed out because the chemicals that we were using were just so bad, and it's just, that was before we found, more natural products. So just looking at the things that we ingest on a daily basis and the things that we put on our skin and the things that we bring in, we all have ways that we can change and affect our futures. So that's been huge.
Totally. And I think you bring up a really amazing point, that there's all these things that we don't even realize we are willingly bringing into our homes, willingly doing, without even realizing how bad of an impact it's, that toll that it's taking on our body, not just breathing it in, but you're talking about, using the bleach and the cleaning products, and you're, on your hands and knees and on your feet, and it's getting inside your skin, it's getting inside your bloodstream. Like but we don't realize that. And we don't oftentimes look at it that way. We just look at, hey, we're cleaning our bathroom. We're making things better, right? So it's a really different perspective to take on things. So when you received your diagnosis and you received your options, what kind of emotions were you kind of going through?
Boy, fear, uncertainty, and having watched another family member battle cancer for years and then lose, that's always in the back of your head too. So I was just very grateful for an amazing support network of my family, friends, my oil family. And that was huge for us. So knowing that my journey is not the same as anybody else's journey, and just because somebody that had cancer that may have not, made it, or, lost their battle, doesn't mean it's going to be your battle. And you have to keep strong, and you have to know that in your heart and in your soul. So that was.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to when they sat you down and said, these are the findings, these are what we think you should do, what was kind of going through your mind when you were weighing your options on how to proceed now that you had this new information?
One of my huge things, I knew that when they took my thyroid, I would be on medication the rest of my life. And without that medication, eventually I would die. So that was a huge thing that I did not want. But when you look at the scope of, you have a cancerous organ or not have a cancerous organ, obviously the smart choice is to not have a cancerous organ. The biggest thing for me was they weren't even sure. So I had a huge choice to make, whether I wanted to wait and just see what happened or get it done. So, I took my time. It took me months to decide what I was going to do. So, we decided that it needed to go, because if they did a partial thyroidectomy, meaning they take so your thyroid looks like a butterfly. Okay. So that's why September is actually Thyroid Cancer Awareness Month. So that's why when you see any kind of thyroid cancer ribbons or anything to do with that, they have a butterfly with it, because that represents the actual organ. So a thyroidectomy is like a partial lobe removal, but they leave the rest of the organ in there. However, with thyroid cancer, there's a very highly likely chance that it will grow back on the other side, and then they have to go back in. So all those options were weighed, and we decided to take the whole thing out. And I just have a little tiny pill that I take every morning now. So it's been good. It's definitely an adjustment, because your body is getting used to a synthetic thyroid replacement drug, and they have to do a lot of tweaking to kind of find your correct dosage. And we did a lot of changes in our lives as well. We changed our diet, and we eliminated sugar, and we eliminated a lot of carbs. So we were on a low carb diet for a while, and the husband lost 80 pounds and I've lost about 60. And this has just been in the last year. So that's been a huge overall help for both of us. So
Yeah, that was actually something I wanted to talk to you about also. So, you got the diagnosis, you got the surgery, you're on a good kind of path going forward. What changes did you make? And we'll kind of break it down by category, but you just talked a little bit about your diet. So what was your thought process with changing what you were putting into your body?
well, if you actually look at what you consume on a daily basis and track it, it's kind of scary. You don't really realize what you're putting in your mouth and the quantities and what it's affecting and what it's doing in your body. So I tried to keep a food journal, which I sucked at, but I found an app called MyFitnessPal, which allowed me to kind of scan things that were packaged or input it quickly, and it gave me a breakdown of what my diet actually looked like, and it wasn't good. So we wanted to kind of revamp things and eat more whole foods and eliminate the prepackaged and processed foods and all the junk crap that is so quick and convenient that's out there, but it's not good. So, instead of going to get a burger, get a salad. Yeah, get some chicken in there, get some meat in there, but, there's smart choices everywhere. It's just you need to make those smart choices. And that was that, everything's out there. You just have to find what you want.
Absolutely. And judging from how you felt even before your surgery, before you even knew you had to have surgery, judging from then until now, even just looking at the realm of the choices that you've made in changing your diet and different things, how could you kind of break down how you feel?
Oh my God, so much better. I mean, if you factor out the thyroid replacement medication, because it does, I have side effects from that. So like your thyroid helps regulate your body's temperature. So I get overheated a lot or I get cold. So that sucks. And people don't understand that, I ran inside the other day and I'm looking for something and I didn't have a fan on in that room. And it's like I walked back out and I'm almost dripping, and the husband's looking at me, like, what's wrong with you? I'm just like, I was hot. I need to just stand in front of the fan and cool off for like 5 minutes and then I'll be fine. But it's little things like that you never really realize could be issues that turn into issues. But I don't know, it's been a process, but we overall feel so much better as far as, the factors and the things that we've changed in our lives and how much it's really affected us. So, cutting out all the sugars was huge. It was huge. We have, we've put a few things back in just here and there, but, it's also realizing that you can't go back to everything that you did before, because that's what got you where you were before too. So everything in moderation, I guess, right?
Absolutely. And I think you bring up a really, really amazing point that everything you did before got you to where you were before. So really having that courage to kind of take a step back and go, okay, what are all the things that I can change that are in my control? That might not be the easiest things to do, because God knows giving up sugars is actually a really hard thing. They always say that sugar is actually the most addictive substance ever. And it is hard, and it's a hard habit to kick, but it's really easy to go back to, and it's in everything. So being really mindful about what you're putting into your body is huge. What other changes did you make in terms of like lifestyle, self-care from, before your surgery, before your diagnosis to now? What does that look like?
So part of the process of the diagnosis and treatment was radioactive iodine. That was part of my treatment. So after they removed the thyroid, I went in and it's 2 little capsules, and you're not allowed to touch them. Like, they have it in a thing, and like you're all in this secluded room, and you may turn green and meet a Hulk for a while, but they have you do this low iodine diet, and looking at that alone was huge. I mean, they have a cookbook, they have a website, they have a whole ThyCal group to help and support each other. But holy crap, iodine's in like everything. So just doing that diet alone was just ridiculous and crazy. And that is something that I had to do to prepare my body to accept the radioactive iodine, because your organ, your thyroid, is one of the few things in your body that absorbs iodine. So that's why it's a targeted treatment. The radioactive iodine is supposed to be absorbed by all the remaining thyroid cells, that because when they take the thyroid, they can't get every single cell. They're microscopic. So that treatment targets whatever remaining cells and tries to kill off the cancer there. So that was huge for eye-opening diet issues. But what was the rest of the question?
Oh, I was asking about different lifestyle and self-care things from before your surgery and different things to now. Like what's changed? What have you kind of really implemented? What does that all look like?
So we don't have bleach in the house anymore, which is huge. So that's awesome, which unfortunately now I can clean too, and the husband doesn't have to clean all the bathrooms anymore. So we have our On Guard cleaner concentrate that it's amazing. We mix it up ourselves. So if we run out, it takes 30 seconds to make more and refill it. So we clean our whole house with that, and it smells amazing. We don't have to worry about what we're touching. I don't have to worry about what I'm spraying by the dog, and if she's going to be affected by that. We don't have to air the house out anymore after cleaning, so that's awesome and huge. My skincare, most people don't realize that we put about 82 toxins on our body a day. And as women, we have a whole lot more products that we use than men, just overall in general. And have you ever really looked and read the labels? Because it's kind of scary. I started reading everything, and if I couldn't pronounce it, it didn't go on my body. If I didn't know where it was derived from, if it was a natural or synthetic ingredient, I didn't use it. Those were things that were in my control to change. I can't control if I go out to dinner, what ingredients they're using in their food, but I can control what I cook at home, so I can control that it's organic. I can control that it's pesticide free, and I've washed it, so I know it's clean. So there's just little things that, as you look around your life in your day-to-day world, that, you don't have to go with what everyone else does. You can choose your path, and you can choose the things that you want in your life and the changes that you want to make.
Totally. I was actually, as you were talking, I was just thinking here about how big of, and I know this is going to come off a little bit weird to people who are either going through that journey or just newly diagnosed or whatever, but it's such a gift sometimes when you receive a diagnosis and you have decisions to make, because it's almost like life is intervening in your life and giving you an option to do things differently. It's almost like plucking you out of that old life, saying, hey, this life you're going down the disease road. Like you need to make some changes. And sometimes it takes that diagnosis to really shake you and go, hey, wake up. And some people do and some people don't. But it's always really inspiring to me to meet people like you who took something like that and totally did a 180 with their life and just said, you know what, there's so many things that I actually have control over that I could actually change. And you know what, maybe I can't change everything, but there's a lot of things that I can do. And what are some of those other things that maybe you now use to support your health and even your emotional well-being? Because I know I have a thyroid disorder myself, and I know that sometimes that in and of itself, when you're messing with your hormones, could really sort of throw off your emotions. So what are the things that now you are using to support your whole health? I know we talked a lot about cleaning products and things and, things you're putting on your skin, but what about your health? What about your emotions? What about post-surgery and during surgery, and even making your decisions? Like, what were the things that you were really leaning on, or the tools that you were using?
My friends and family were leaned on tremendously. But my oils, so Balance oil was huge for me. I have an oil bag in my purse. So Balance, Cheer, all of our emotional oils, they were all in there all the time, and they did not leave my side. So when I felt I needed that extra support, I would just put a drop in my hand, rub it together, and breathe it in. So that was a huge help. I actually used peppermint and ginger in the recovery room. So my doctors were very open to my oil usage. They said, do what you need to do. Just don't use anything internally or topically the morning of surgery. So they were awesome. So my recovery room, all the nurses loved it because it smelled the best. So I had my ginger and my peppermint in there because that was the first surgery I've ever undergone. So I didn't know how I was going to react with the anesthesia. And I have a family member that had woken up during surgery. So they knew that. So I think they gave me a higher dose of anesthesia, and it did not go well. I was very sick after that. So I had my my peppermint and my ginger in my room that I was smelling, and that really helped to calm my queasy stomach and all that yuck that was going on in there. So we had the On Guard in there as well to help keep our hands clean and kill the germs, because you're in a hospital, but there's a lot of other people in the hospital. And there's a lot of germs flying around, so I didn't want to get sick before or after. So that was huge to keep me to keep my cells healthy and have a good recovery. One of the other things I love to use is I thought I grabbed it. I grabbed the wrong bottle. I have DDR Prime that is one of my favorite oils. It is a cellular blend, and I have the oil bottle here. So this is what that looks like. But there's also soft gels. So I'm either using the liquid oil or a soft gel every single day. So it's a cellular complex, and it helps to kind of promote cellular turnover and help keep your healthy cells healthy. So with any kind of cancer issues going on, this is something that I will probably be taking every single day the rest of my life, just to help minimize my recurrence chance. As having thyroid cancer, which was confirmed after surgery, it was cancer. I believe it's a 20 to 30% chance of reoccurrence. So obviously I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it's a 0 chance of reoccurrence. So, yep.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's the biggest thing that we can kind of take away again too, is that, the earth is giving us all these really amazing things to be able to help our bodies heal itself. So whether it's the food, right? Because when you're talking about sugar and preservatives, that's all in packaged stuff. It's not in, fruits and veggies and meats and proteins and different things. It's in the crap that man produces. It's not the earth, it's man. So again, cleaning products, beauty products, man created, lab created. So we really are our own worst enemies when it comes to those things. So being able to have different tools at your disposal to really get back to the earth and, be in alignment in that way is so amazing. I would really love to know, through this whole journey, how has cancer changed you? How is it, personally, just how you walk through the world, what your mindset is, different things like that. How has it changed your marriage? How has it changed your relationship to everything?
That's a good question. I think once you're told that you have cancer or had cancer, it's always with you. It's always in the back of your mind. There's a fellowship with everyone else that is battling, or is a survivor. And you're now part of a club that you never wanted to be part of to begin with, but there's some pretty cool members in there. I kind of have a different perspective on everyone that I knew previously that had cancer. And, you think you can kind of put yourselves in their shoes and think what they're going through, but you never really can until you hear those words. And it makes you stronger. It makes you dig deep inside and find that inner strength that you didn't know you have, and kick it to a new level, because that that word cancer is not you. You are you. It is just a piece of you that you now have, and it's a label, but that label doesn't define you. So you mentioned earlier, that diagnosis could be a gift, and I completely agree with that, because it's allowed me to meet some people in my life that I never would have met. It's allowed me to open up conversations with people that cancer, a lot of people don't talk about it. It's a stigma that, oh, they're going through cancer, and, people just kind of shut down because they don't know how to approach people, or don't know what to say to people, or what to even do. And I tried to be as open with my journey as I could through my journey. So I did a lot of posts, and I think it helped several people that have been since diagnosed with cancer. I see them being more open and sharing things that personally I don't think they would have before, because they were very private people. So it's allowed others to open up conversations and to get that dialogue started, because you know what? We all have that choice to be supportive to other people or to turn the shoulder. And why not be supportive? You know what I mean? Don't hear somebody has cancer and automatically think that they want to be secluded in a room by themselves. No, they need their friends and family. They need you to reach out and see how they're doing. And, even if they have gone through radiation and chemo and they have no hair, they still want to go out and have a good time and have a girls' night or go to a pedicure or whatever it is. So reach out to anybody that that's going through that or has gone through that, because there's amazing groups and support groups out there. And it's something that's always going to be in the back of their mind. So I've met a few people that I've been able to kind of help walk through certain areas, and I consider it a gift to be able to help them with my own experience. So that was good.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I always felt like there needs to be more people who have, dealt with specific diseases or different things that are kind of like you, who are very open about their journey, what they're doing, how they're feeling, being very vulnerable. It's being vulnerable takes a lot of courage. And it's amazing to watch you be that state of vulnerability and authenticity. And this is what I'm going through. And, hey, today's a bad day. This is how I'm feeling. So to have been able to watch your posts and know you personally, to kind of know, and there's even, obviously I know you, so there's a lot more to your story than what we're sharing here. But to be able to see that in you and being able to see you give that to other people is huge. It's a huge gift. So it's amazing to watch how much you've changed in the last few years, just from who you were before your diagnosis to how you coped with it through and who you've become since because of it. And so if you were to kind of pinpoint something, what do you feel like from your journey so far has been the biggest takeaway that you would want to share with the world from your journey?
I would probably say one of the biggest things that I tell people, and it has everything to do with everything, and people don't even realize that. I used to sell candles, and they were artificially scented candles, and I burned them every day. And those chemicals get in the air. The air fresheners that we have to have all over our homes, they're in the air for everybody to breathe all day long. People have them in the schools. They have them in their workplace. And these are chemicals that are endocrine disrupting chemicals that you breathe it in, it gets in your bloodstream. They're everywhere. And I think just being more cognizant of the things we use every day and the impact it has, not only on yourself, but on your children, your pets, your loved ones, your strangers that you're inviting into your workplace or your home or whatever. Just be aware of the things that you're using and things that you're inviting into your home, because there are natural options out there. Your home can still smell great and not have cancer causing ingredients in it. So I was one of those people too. I mean, I want my house to smell great. I don't want, my fish dinner to like welcome somebody in, I want it to smell good, but I don't want to, I guess, sacrifice my health and well-being of my family for that. So I've been able to use natural things in my essential oils to kind of take over the cleaning, the scent, the mood, everything, because they're just, yeah, they're just that good.
They're just plants. They're natural.
It's awesome. But yeah, I guess just be more cognizant of the things that you're using every day. And even though it looks simple and minor and, oh, what harm is going to, come from this, just be aware of the possibilities and always try to find something that's, I guess, less damaging to you as possible.
Yeah, as you were talking about the candles, you actually brought up something for me that I had never considered before. That's happening a lot in this interview with you, which I love. So my mom, actually, she used to love candles, love them. She had them everywhere, and I used to have them everywhere too. I would have like the tart warmers and, all of that stuff. And I'll never forget when I started using the oils, when I started using plants, a lady that made homemade soap gifted me this bar of soap that was supposed to smell like sugar cookies or something. And I don't know what she used in there, but I had it in a plastic bag and I had it in my car, and I got in my car and I got an immediate migraine. Like I had to toss it in the back of my car to not smell it because it was nauseating me so bad. And it's these things. And it was that realization of, oh my gosh, this is actually what's causing me to be sick, is these smells, these different toxins, these different things. And I never actually realized until now about the candles. I didn't even remember. And it's interesting because I know we talked a little bit earlier that, I have a thyroid issue too. And it's, endocrine system, different things, autoimmune. So I almost wonder I know it has to be a contributing factor of all that stuff. I mean, to get all that crap out of your bloodstream probably takes a really long time, depending on how long, it's been kind of building up. So that's really, really amazing. And you are so freaking inspiring. And I love it so much. I love hearing all of your knowledge and all your tips and all the things that happened, and you being so open and willing to share. So I have another question. Actually, I have two last questions before we wrap up. The first one is for people who want to get in touch with you, if they are going through their own journey or they have questions, whether it be oil related or different things about your own personal journey, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
I actually have a public Facebook group, and it's called Revitalizing the 70s by Heather. So they can reach out to me there. I do post plant tips and early tips all the time. Or they can email me at heatheroils@yahoo.com. And I just wanted to point out too that, as I mentioned, September is Thyroid Cancer Awareness Month. So if you've never had your thyroid checked or blood work to check your levels, please go make an appointment and do that, because you know what? You can change your future.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I really, I love about being able to hear from people who are doing things integratively, because, so often people who are in the holistic field or natural modalities or different things, some people tend to shun the medical community because we have two different views of how to view the body. But, when you look at how they integrate together, one needs the other just as much, because, with oils and different things, we can't see what's going on inside the body the way that blood tests and different things can. So we need that. We need that for assistance. We need doctors to be able to give us their opinions. But with that, then it's on us, just like it was on you, to make a decision. Okay, this is what's happening. What do I want to do? What's my choice? What are the possibilities? How do I bring these two worlds together to partner with my body to do what's in my best interest? So I think that's so, so, so important. And then the last question I have for you is, if you were to be able to have every school either teach a healing modality or teach something in their schools that's not currently being taught, something that you feel is so, so important, maybe something aside from oils, what would it be?
Meditation. I think I read something a while back that one school had actually, instead of, I think it was detention, they replaced it with meditation, and the kids were thriving. It's getting you out of the clutter and chaos of your life and into the quietness of your mind. And I think everyone needs to know how to do that, because if you're not okay with yourself in those 5 minutes of just quiet time with the universe, you need to be. Because you're not going to be able to deal with stress, and you're not going to be able to deal with everything else that life throws at you. So being able to learn how to meditate and have that quiet time and know how to calm your emotions yourself, I think is huge. And I would love to see that taught in schools, because I think the generations that are coming up are just electronics this, and it's just sensory overload all the time. And I don't think they get that quiet time of just nothingness anymore, because when they do, they don't know what to do with it. So I think the meditation would kind of teach them how to just be okay with nothingness and quiet time, and boredom is okay too, you know? Creativity springs from many things.
Absolutely. And I love that you just mentioned all of this, because I had the interview with Julie about the chakras and all that, and that question that I asked her, she had the exact same answer. So I love that you guys are mirroring each other in that, because I think it's so important.
Very cool.
That is so cool. Okay, so I am going to wrap this up with you. I am so super grateful that you were able to hop on and share all of your amazing knowledge. And again, thank you so much for having the courage to be vulnerable and really be an open book and allow yourself to show those emotions, because that's part of your healing. You know what I mean? That's being able to share that journey, share the emotions, share what's going on inside of you, be that open book, kind of cracking open that heart and that throat chakra to be able to shine some light there, to be able to tell your story and help other people is what probably a lot of what your purpose on this earth is just to kind of be that messenger too, which is amazing.
And I can't wait for the bridge to finally happen between modern medicine and holistic, because as you mentioned, they both have a time and a place, and I believe they both can work synergistically together. There's just a lot of, people that don't believe in one or the other, and they can cohesively exist and benefit everybody. So can't wait for that to come to fruition.
Yeah, and I think it's happening. I think we're finally seeing it starting to flow that way, with more doctors and hospitals being open to natural modalities and kind of opening their mind and different things. I think it's really amazing. And I think those people who are really into they're really deeply into their modality, whatever that natural modality is, most of them really do recognize the need for, the medical community as well. So it's a really amazing, beautiful place if we create it that way.
Exactly.
So, okay. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us. I hope that you have learned just as much from Heather as I have. We appreciate her so much, and hope you guys are having a really amazing day. And until our next interview, hope you guys are doing awesome. We'll talk soon. Thanks again, Heather.
No problem. Bye, guys.
Bye.